Sean, thanks for joining us. How's the week been since last week's match against Arbroath?
We've managed to pick ourselves up. We've had to kind of look at all the injury situations that we've had, which has not been ideal. But some people have managed to get back in training this week, and we've managed to get good work done. As I said, I wanted to put the Arbroath game in the bin and put it to bed and move on to this week.
That was my next question about the queue at JP's physio room. Was this a difficult time for you in juggling the injuries and the team selection?
I think obviously we've had a right good few injuries recently. Just again, I think the backlog of the games, and then it's just ones where the ones have been picking up niggles, but we've obviously had our kind of long-term ones as well. So, like for instance, there's a wee bit of good news with Zach Mockin and Michael Ruth both get their operations, and both successful operations. So they're just continuing to come back into their rehab. We obviously get bad news like with the Dunfermline games with Roddy. So Roddy's going to be out for about 6 weeks. He's got a calf tear, but he's progressing well. So hopefully it might get shorter than that, depending on how that goes. Nico has had another setback in his injury, so we're actually getting a specialist to speak to him next week. And then obviously we had a couple of ones for last week, like for instance, as I mentioned in the last week for the game, Carlo Pignatello was really struggling with his back against Dunfermline, but managed to get through the game. But last week he really couldn't train much, and then I'll be honest, I didn't really want to put him on at all. He was there for cover in case I needed him, and then it ended up that I did need him for that wee short spell. But he's managed to get a wee bit of training this week as well. And then Liam McLeish has got a kind of an issue with his heel, so he's got kind of soft tissue damage. Ricky Waugh has got a bit of tendinitis. And then we've had, again, Michael Collins, to be fair, on his kind of road to recovery as well. So he had a kind of hammy tear after one of the games, and he's come back, and hopefully within the next week he'll be back as well. But we had good news with Darrow and Cole Buck. They managed to play in the Glasgow Cup tie during the week, so a bit of mixture, a bit of good news, a bit of bad news. And then Josh Fowler, obviously for us, again, we're going to see how he is today. Managed to get a wee bit done this week, so we'll just assess it for there.
Shows a bit about the character, and you mentioned Carlo, that for a player who's unable to train maybe through the week, that's still pushing through and still making that performance.
Yeah, I think, listen, it's something that I've said about the group, the commitment's there. Do you know what I mean? We had the two guys, and one of them spewing in the bin, one of them spewing down in the toilet down at Ayr United. The commitment's definitely there for the group. Carlo was so keen to play. Josh was keen to play, but again, we can't take risks with these kind of type of injuries. Do you know what I mean? If they're close to doing something. So again, we just want to make sure that everybody's going to be okay. But everybody's looking forward to tomorrow, and hopefully we can go and get a big performance. And as I said, put the Arbroath game to bed.
Just going to be very careful today then in training to make sure that you've got as many options as you can.
Yeah, we're trying to reduce training. To be fair, listen, our fitness levels is something that I've been really happy with. So we've tried to reduce this week slightly, because obviously the backlog of the games. We managed to actually get some minutes for people during the week in the Glasgow Cup as well, which was good, because again, sometimes I think players need it for their confidence as well. And to be fair, the boys played well, never got the result they were looking for, but they did play well. So no, it was, and then obviously for us, a couple of the younger ones were involved as well, which was really good. It was good to mix them with the first team players, and again, it shows what the club's all about as well in terms of that mix and doing things the right way. But no, we've had to kind of reduce things slightly this week just to make sure that everybody's fresh for tomorrow.
Another wee bit of good news, Sean, was that Aidan McGinley was selected again for the Scotland Under-19s and had some time away in Italy.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really good news when he came back. So unfortunately he's picked up an injury as well. So he's done something to his hamstring. He's had probably a wee tear in his hamstring. We're just waiting to see what the kind of prognosis is going to be. He just came back in yesterday. But to be fair to Scotland, they obviously let us know pretty early, and I was in contact with Aidan over his time in Italy. But listen, it was great for him to be away, but unfortunately it's not great for him to come back injured. So it's another one that JP can add to his list at the door. But no, it's great recognition for our club as well that Aidan has been away, and we're kind of hopeful that he would maybe make the next camp if he's called upon, but it might be too early just because the next camp's in November and he's picked up this injury. So we just need to try and nurse him and make sure he gets back into other camps like any other of our young players as well.
It's a difficult time then with the injuries, and obviously with the result last week. Is it a case of that maybe you learn more this week when times are tough than, as you say, putting last week's game in the bin?
Well, I think, listen, any defeat or any bad performance that you put in, you want to see character, and I have seen character this week. We've obviously been on the players in terms of we need to make sure that there's a reaction to our poor performance up there. What I don't want to be doing, even though there's injuries and stuff like that, I'm not the type of person to be making excuses. We need to make sure that whoever comes into the fold is ready to go, and to be fair to the group, most of the time this year they have been. So, as I said, I've not kind of questioned their commitment or their desire, etc. I just felt last week everything kind of went wrong in every department, which is not something I've had to say that often. But the players know that they were really hurting this week, and I have seen a really good reaction. And as I said, we're back at home, which is something that I've said that after the quarter that we need to fix our home form, and hopefully we can go and start doing that tomorrow.
Airdrie's a tough opposition with a good display against them away from home, but a bit of a different proposition this week. Yeah,
so obviously they've kind of changed their manager. Again, I know Danny. I worked under Danny actually at Airdrie in my previous spell there. So he'll have them organised and ready to go. I've watched. I was at their game against St Johnstone a few weeks ago. Obviously, we're doing a wee bit of St Johnstone's work, but we managed to see Airdrie as well. I thought they were really good. I thought second half they dominated the second half against a very good side. So listen, it's like any game, as I mention every week, any game's tough in this league, but we need to make sure that we get about our business properly this week, because we didn't last week. So if we get about our business properly, I'm sure that we can go and get a result.
Thanks, Sean. Best of luck.
Thank you.